guys, welcome back to another week of Mortgage Matters in Minutes. I'm your host, Brent Rasmussen, and this week's show again coming to you live from Mortgage Specialists. So today we're going to talk about how to win in a bidding war or in a hot seller's market. And while this might seem like a new topic, it is not. We've written this blog many years ago, and again, we're here to provide you the best lending advice and home loan advice, and possibly a little bit in the real estate advice. And this might be more of a topic in regards to real estate. And we always want to lean on our realtor partners because they experience this on a very regular basis. But where I can come and give you a little bit of different perspective is we see many transactions and many clients go through and put offers in that might not get accepted, as well as the ones that do get accepted. And we like to look at the difference between the ones that maybe get their offer accepted and maybe not. And that's what we're going to kind of chat about a little bit today. While there's no full proof, the issue still happens in this current spring market that there's more buyers than there are people wanting to sell. And that's in a seller's market. And there's nothing right now in sight that shows that's going to change anything. So I know that's a big question many people ask in regards to, I just want to buy a house, why can't I obtain one? And that's something that we tell our clients that we need to work to be prepared. And whether we already have a house, whether we already have credit, whether we have the down payment, maybe we're all perfectly established and set up, but what can we do to give the seller more or attract that seller to like our offer versus someone else's offer? And some of this can be impacted on the lending side, and some of it just can be impacted by you, a particular buyer, to assist with the offer to see what it is. So let's just talk about a few things. The first, the easiest question is ask the seller what they want. Ask your realtor to ask their realtor, is there a specific time frame that they want to close in? Is there something that they're looking for? Do they want to sell this house to another family with kids? Or do they want to sell this at the highest price? What's their goal as a seller? And I can tell you, obviously money makes a big difference, but I've had a few transactions over the last couple of weeks that people weren't necessarily the highest bid offer, still got the home because the seller was appeased by what the buyer was bringing to the table. And whether that might have been more a primary residence type of use for a family, more than an investor that might just be flipping the house or using it as a rental. There's different reasons why sellers actually want to sell to particular buyers. So ask the seller, what are they looking for? Is there anything particular they would like? And then try to do your best to obviously meet what the seller is looking for. That'll give you the best opportunity and chance. Another perspective that I can throw in there is having a good, reputable, qualified mortgage loan originator or lender to put your offer in makes a huge difference. I can tell you here, again, over the last few weeks of examples after examples of many selling agents taking our buyer's offer because of our reputation, our process, and how we work together with all parties to make it easier for the seller. They are, as a seller, they are not going to want to take an offer that's more challenging and more work for them. They don't have to because they're looking at 5, 10, 15 possible offers. Why would a seller take something that is more painful for them to go through and they don't have to at this point in time? So ask the other agent, hey, are you familiar with my loan officer? Can the selling agent call the loan officer and the lender and ask them, how good are these buyers that are putting in an offer? Any of those things will attract your offer higher the more they know the loan officer and lender. And I can tell you here at Mortgage Specialists, we have that reputation, and it's a very common theme that happens on a regular basis that I've been told by my client and my agents that I work with, we accepted your offer because your name, Brent, and Mortgage Specialist is on that contract. Also, another easy thing you can do as a buyer is write a letter to the seller. In some states, this is illegal, but here in Nebraska, it is still legal to put something together. Give them some kind of emotions on why you, as the buyer, want to buy their house. Compliment the seller. Tell them you like something about them. Try to tie in something that you have as a common denominator with the seller. As you're walking the property, you might see they have pictures on the wall, or they're invested in something or another, or they have a similar hobby as you do. The more you guys can like the buyer and seller and understand each other without actually meeting, obviously I can tell you emotions are going to pay off for you and your offer. They're going to remember you versus somebody else that just put something pen to paper. And I can tell you, it's just like when you're house hunting, you have a nickname for the houses, and you have a nickname for Mr. or Mr. Seller. And you have nicknames for all kinds of things, because at some point in time, it is very hard to remember everything that you're looking at and doing without having some reference or point of reference to consider that. And the seller's the same way. When there's different offers on the table, you might appease to them because you're very much interested in the same hobbies or things that they are. I can also share with you that the loan type that you put an offer in makes a huge difference. We've talked about this, we've written about this, we've educated our clients that FHA and VA loans to sellers are a little bit more risky than a conventional loan. So if you might not now qualify for a conventional loan, what can you do in the future to get that qualification? So when you put in an offer, maybe a conventional loan is much more attractive to the seller than an FHA or VA loan is. Another thing that you can do as a buyer is save additional monies. While we go through the costs and the payments, many clients are just saving for the bare minimum they need. And when there's 5 or 10 other people that want the house, a lot of times you're having to use an escalation clause to bid higher. But you as the buyer then can start talking with your family to say, can I receive a gift from mom and dad or grandma and grandpa? Can I put $5,000 or $10,000 more aside to make sure when the seller says, yes, we like your offer, we just don't like your number, and they counter back with a higher number, you are prepared to pay that higher number? And I can tell you now more than ever, just like we've seen over the last 5 years, money talks. And the more money that you have available to use towards that transaction, the greater chance of getting your offer accepted over someone else's offer in that regards. Another idea that we see our clients being accepted of their offers is if they put down a higher earnest deposit. And so what is an earnest deposit? An earnest deposit is basically monies in good faith. You're putting up monies to show the seller, I am serious about putting in and buying this house. If for some reason the transaction falls apart, you obviously get your money back for certain reasons. There's lots of legalities there. So a lot of people are scared to put up a bunch of money, but as long as you perform and you do the things that you say you're going to do, you get that money back at closing, or if for some reason the seller doesn't like your offer. But a seller will always like an offer with someone that has more money on the table because they know they're more serious. There's more skin in the game. There's more reputation on the line to finish up that transaction because you have money outstanding as well. The last idea that we have also is to offer to pay the seller's closing costs. And while obviously we don't want everyone to pay more than they can afford, we would have thought by now that with interest rates creeping up, that the market would have maybe evened out a little bit. And that's not always the case. So if you've done all these other things and all offers are exactly the same, what's going to incentivize you versus the next person? And that obviously is giving the seller more money, offering to pay their title fees, their title closing, title insurance, maybe offering to pay some of their real estate commission. Whatever the seller can net more, they probably are going to lean towards taking your offer as long as they like you emotionally. And it's really hard to do when you haven't had a chance to meet Mr. or Mrs. Seller as you as the buyer themselves. The reason why we're talking about this here again today is that the markets in the springtime, we haven't seen a massive change. People are still having multiple offers, and using a very reputable realtor and lender can give you some of these guidances and advice to put together the best scenario. I can tell you we see lots of clients that don't understand how hot or how challenging the market could be for a buyer. It's still very easy for a seller. If you have a seller that wants to sell a property, that's very simple. But we know because of the internet, it's very easy to find anything we want online, click of a button, and have that particular product or service come to us. Real estate is not one of those things. We have a finite number of properties, and that number of properties under a certain number isn't gaining any higher number. Or there isn't more properties that are being created less than 300,000 or less than 250,000. So as the population is increasing, those numbers of houses aren't keeping up with the amount of people that need it. So if you can learn anything from this video here today, is to be prepared for the market that exists. No one wants to overpay. I understand that completely, but I can also share with you that it's very stressful and it's a very hard market and a very nerve-wracking experience when you're putting in 10, 12, 15 offers and you're not getting any of those accepted. Clients that work and listen to us and do these steps have a much greater chance of getting their offer accepted over someone that isn't. So again, here at Mortgage Specialist, we're always just a phone call away at 402-991-5153. You can check us out on our website at mtg-specialists.com or subscribe to our YouTube Mortgage Matters in Minutes blog at Mortgage Specialist LLC, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great rest of your day. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.